Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Your life is not stuck because of lack of talent. It's not stuck because of bad luck. It's stuck because you keep saying you don't have time. And that's the biggest lie you tell yourself every single day. Let me tell you something people don't like to admit. Everybody wants success, but very few people want to manage their time. We keep looking at people who've made it and saying they're lucky or they had connections or they were born into it. But the truth is simpler and harder at the same time. Everybody gets the same 24 hours. Nobody gets more. Nobody gets less. The difference is not time, it's how that time is used. You can wake up in the same morning, in the same city, under the same sky as someone who is winning in life and still be stuck, not because you're less gifted, but because you spend your hours differently. Time is the one thing God gives equally. Talent isn't equal. Money isn't equal. Opportunity doesn't always look equal, but time is fair. And how you respect it determines how your life turns out. Most people waste hours without realizing it. They say they don't have time, but they always find time for things that don't move them forward. Social media, complaining, watching other people live their dreams, talking about what they're going to do instead of doing it. Hours disappear and then years pass and suddenly people wonder why nothing has changed. Here's the truth. You don't need the whole day to change your life. You just need one intentional hour. 1 hour where you stop reacting to life and start directing it. 1 hour where you invest in yourself instead of entertaining yourself. That 1 hour done consistently separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. Think about it. 1 hour of reading a day makes you knowledgeable. 1 hour of learning a skill makes you valuable. 1 hour of prayer or reflection strengthens your spirit. 1 hour of planning turns confusion into clarity. But instead of using that hour, most people give it away. They give it to distractions. They give it to fear. They give it to excuses. People say, I'll do it when I have more time. No, you won't. If you don't manage time now, you won't manage it later. More time doesn't fix lack of discipline. That's why success doesn't come from having extra hours. It comes from respecting the hours you already have. Winners understand something losers ignore. Time either works for you or against you. Every day you invest your hour, you move forward. Every day you waste it, you fall behind, even if you don't feel it immediately. Progress is quiet, so is regret, but both are built daily. You don't have to do everything today. That's where people get overwhelmed. You just have to do something meaningful today. 1 hour is manageable. 1 hour is realistic. 1 hour doesn't require permission. 1 hour doesn't need perfect conditions. It just needs commitment. And let me tell you something powerful. When you start honoring that 1 hour, your mindset changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying and start seeing yourself as someone who's building. Confidence grows, discipline sharpens. You begin to respect yourself more because you're keeping promises to yourself. After a few weeks, you'll notice you think differently. After a few months, people will notice you move differently. After a year, your life won't look the same. Not because of luck, not because of magic, but because you decided that your time mattered. Most people think being busy means being productive. It doesn't. Being busy just means you're doing a lot of things, not that you're doing the right things. Distraction has become the new normal, and because of it, people mistake motion for progress. They move all day but go nowhere. That's why 1 hour of real focus can outperform 10 hours of scattered effort. We live in a world that constantly pulls at your attention. Notifications, messages, news, opinions, entertainment. Everything is fighting to live rent-free in your mind. And every time your focus breaks, your power leaks. You lose momentum. You lose clarity. You lose time. That's why so many people feel exhausted at the end of the day but can't point to anything meaningful they actually accomplished. Focus is a skill, and like any skill, it has to be trained. When you sit down for one intentional hour and decide, this hour belongs to my future, something shifts. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop letting the world decide how your time is spent and start making that decision yourself. Here's the truth. Multitasking is a lie. Your brain doesn't do multiple things well at the same time. It just switches quickly between tasks, and every switch costs you energy. That's why people feel drained after a day of distractions. They didn't work harder, they worked fractured, one focus hour with no phone, no noise, and no excuses creates deeper results than an entire day filled with interruptions. When you focus, you enter a different mental space. You start to see solutions instead of problems. You notice details you usually miss. You connect ideas that were scattered before. Focus brings clarity, and clarity brings confidence. That's why focused people move differently. They know where they're going. Most people avoid focus because focus exposes truth. When you sit still and concentrate, you can't hide from your weaknesses. You can't blame distractions. You see clearly what you know and what you don't know, and that can be uncomfortable. But growth lives on the other side of that discomfort. That 1 hour of focus might be spent learning a new skill, building a business idea, studying, practicing, writing, or planning your next move. Whatever it is, the key is this: do one thing and do it fully, not halfway, not while checking your phone, not while thinking about something else. Fully present. At first, it will feel difficult. Your mind will wander. Your hand will reach for your phone. That's normal. Don't quit. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And as it gets stronger, everything else in your life gets easier. One focused hour a day compounds fast. In a week, you'll have 7 hours of real progress. In a month, over 30. In a year, hundreds of hours invested in something that actually matters. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary outcomes. The people you admire didn't get ahead because they worked nonstop. They got ahead because they learned how to focus when it mattered. They chose depth over noise, purpose over distraction. If you want your life to change, stop trying to do everything. Do one thing well. Protect one focused hour a day and let that hour build a life distractions never could. Most people are waiting to feel motivated before they start. They're waiting for the right mood, the right energy, the right moment when everything feels perfect. But let me tell you something real. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you wake up fired up, ready to take on the world. Other days you wake up tired, discouraged, or unsure. If your progress depends on how you feel, your life will always move in circles. That's why discipline matters more than motivation. Discipline is what shows up when motivation doesn't. Discipline is what keeps going when excitement fades. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is a decision. And decisions, when repeated daily, turn into habits. Habits are what shape your future. Here's the mistake people make. They think successful people are always motivated. They're not. They just made a commitment to do the work whether they feel like it or not. They don't wait for inspiration. They act and inspiration follows. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates belief. One disciplined hour a day will take you further than a lifetime of motivation without action, because discipline builds structure, and structure builds consistency. When you decide every day at this time, I work on my future, you remove the need to negotiate with yourself. There's no debate. There's no excuse. It's just what you do. Motivation asks, do I feel like it today? Discipline says, this is who I am. And here's something powerful. Discipline actually protects you. It protects you from procrastination. It protects you from self-doubt. It protects you from the chaos of emotions that change every day. When your hour is scheduled and non-negotiable, your feelings no longer control your progress. At first, discipline feels hard because it demands sacrifice. You might have to wake up earlier. You might have to turn off the TV. You might have to say no to distractions and yes to discomfort. But discomfort is temporary. What discipline gives you lasts. Every time you show up for that 1 hour, even when you don't want to, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're telling yourself, I can be trusted. And self-trust is everything. When you trust yourself, confidence grows. When confidence grows, fear loses its grip. People think discipline is punishment. It's not. Discipline is freedom. It frees you from regret. It frees you from wasted potential. It frees you from constantly starting over. The most stressful life is an undisciplined one because you're always behind, always rush, always wishing you had done more. Discipline simplifies your life. You don't overthink. You don't wait. You just execute. And let me say this clearly. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. You'll have days when the hour isn't perfect. You'll have days when your energy is low. Do it anyway. Showing up imperfectly is better than not showing up at all. Consistency beats intensity every time. Over time, that one disciplined hour rewires your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who quits and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. And when you become someone who finishes, doors open, opportunities appear, people notice. Motivation might start the journey, but discipline finishes it. If you want real change, don't chase motivation. Build disciple. Give your future 1 hour a day, no matter how you feel, and let discipline do what motivation never could. Change your life. Most people underestimate what small daily actions can do over time. They think success has to be loud, dramatic, and immediate. They believe that if they don't see big results quickly, then what they're doing must not be working. That mindset is exactly why so many people quit too early. They're looking for instant transformation, but real change doesn't work that way. Real change works quietly, consistently, and patiently. 1 hour a day may not look impressive today. It may not feel powerful in the moment. You might finish that hour and think that's it, but that's because you're judging progress in snapshots instead of timelines. Small efforts don't scream for attention, but they build momentum behind the scenes. And momentum, when given time, becomes unstoppable. Think about how anything meaningful grows. Muscles grow one workout at a time. Knowledge grows one lesson at a time. Confidence grows one kept promise at a time. No single day makes the difference, but every single day contributes. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. That's why small daily efforts are more powerful than occasional bursts of motivation. Most people rely on intensity. They go all in for a week, maybe two, then burn out. They work late nights, skip rest, overwhelm themselves, and when life gets hard, they stop completely. Consistency works differently. Consistency is calm. Consistency is patient. Consistency doesn't rush, it shows up. One focused hour a day is sustainable. You can do it when life is good. You can do it when life is hard. You can do it when you're tired. That's why it works. It doesn't demand perfection. It demands commitment. Here's what people don't see, that 1 hour compounds. Just like money grows with interest, effort grows WI. Repetition. 1 hour today builds a foundation. Tomorrow, you're not starting from zero. You're building on what you already did. Over time, progress accelerates. What once felt slow starts to feel natural. What once felt hard becomes habit. At first, results are invisible. That's the danger zone. That's where most people quit because they can't see proof. But growth is happening beneath the surface. Roots grow before the tree shows above the ground. If you pull it up too early, you kill the process. The same is true for your life. Small daily efforts also build resilience. When you show up every day, you learn how to work through boredom, doubt, and resistance. You stop needing external validation. You trust the process. That kind of inner strength can't be rushed. And let's be honest, big results often intimidate people. The idea of changing your whole life feels overwhelming, but changing 1 hour, that feels possible. That's the secret. When something feels possible, you actually do it. And when you do it long enough, possible turns into powerful. People will eventually notice. They'll say, you changed. But what they won't see are the hundreds of quiet hours you invested when nobody was watching. Success looks sudden to outsiders, but it's built slowly by those who stay consistent. Don't despise small beginnings. Don't rush the process. Respect the power of daily effort. 1 hour a day done consistently will take you places motivation alone never could. Small actions, repeated daily, don't just create results. They create a new life. A lot of people say they have faith, but very few people are willing to do the work that faith requires. They pray for change, ask for breakthroughs, and hope for better days, yet nothing shifts because faith without action stays incomplete. Belief is powerful, but belief alone doesn't build anything. Faith needs movement. Fa needs effort. Faith needs obedience. That 1 hour a day is where faith becomes real. It's easy to believe when things are going well. It's easy to pray when the answer is already visible. But real faith shows up when you move before you see results. That daily hour is an act of trust. It says, I believe this effort matters, even if I don't see the outcome yet. Preparation is the language faith understands. You can ask God for opportunities, but if you're not preparing, you're not ready to receive them. You can ask for growth, but if you're not willing to learn, nothing changes. That's why prayer and preparation must work together. One without the other leaves you stuck. That hour might be spent studying, practicing, planning, or building. It might be spent sharpening your mindset or strengthening your skills. Whatever it looks like, it's your responsibility to show up. God opens doors, but you still have to walk through them. And you can't walk through doors you're not prepared for. Some people misunderstand faith and think waiting is faith. Waiting without action is avoidance. Faith doesn't mean sitting still and hoping something happens. Faith means taking steps even when the path isn't clear. It means working with what you have while trusting God to multiply it. When you commit to that 1 hour, you're aligning your effort with your belief. You're saying, I trust that this work has purpose. And that alignment creates peace. You stop feeling guilty for not doing enough because you know you showed up. You stop doubting yourself because your actions confirm your belief. That 1 hour also builds patience. Faith doesn't rush the process. It understands that timing matters. When you show up daily, you learn to wait without quitting. You learn to trust without panicking. You learn to work without seeing immediate rewards. That's spiritual maturity. Many people quit right before the breakthrough because they don't understand how faith works. The test isn't just whether you believe, it's whether you're willing to keep working when results are delayed. That's why consistency is a form of faith. Every day you show up, you're saying, I still believe. And here's something important. Faith doesn't mean you won't feel fear or doubt. It means you move anyway. That 1 hour is often uncomfortable. It forces you to face your weaknesses. It forces you to stretch. But growth lives in that stretch. Comfort never produced purpose. When faith and work come together, clarity starts to appear. You begin to see direction. You recognize opportunities. You meet the right people, not because of luck, but because you're ready. Preparation creates awareness. That 1 hour a day is sacred. It's where belief becomes discipline and prayer becomes progress. It's where you stop asking for change and start becoming the answer. Faith isn't just something you say, it's something you practice. And when you practice it daily, life responds. If you don't protect your time, the world will take it from you without asking. Distractions don't announce themselves as enemies. They come disguised as comfort, entertainment, obligations, and even people who mean well. That's why so many people end their days exhausted and unfulfilled. They were busy all day, but they weren't intentional. Their time was spent, not invested. That 1 hour that can change your life is under constant attack. Life will always give you reasons to postpone it. You'll feel tired. Something unexpected will come up. Someone will need your attention. And while responsibilities matter, so does your future. If you keep putting yourself last, you'll wake up one day and realize you never made time for what mattered most. Protecting your hours starts with a decision. You have to decide that your growth is not optional. That hour isn't extra time. It's essential time. It's not selfish to work on your future. It's responsible. When you grow, everyone connected to you benefits. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack boundaries. They say yes to everything and everyone, then wonder why they have nothing left for themselves. Protecting your hour means learning to say no. No to distractions. No to unnecessary commitments. No to habits that steal your focus. And here's the truth. People will not always understand. When you start protecting your time, some will call you distant. Some will say you've changed. You have changed. You've decided to value your future more than temporary approval. That's growth. Protecting your hour also means planning ahead. You can't wait to see if you find time. Time isn't found, it's made. Put it on your schedule. Treat it like an appointment you can't cancel. When it's scheduled, it becomes real. When it's real, it gets done. You'll have days when protecting that hour feels hard. You'll feel guilty. You'll feel tempted to skip it. That's when protecting it matters most, because consistency isn't built on easy days. It's built on hard ones. Every time you defend that hour, you strengthen your discipline. Distractions are especially dangerous because they feel harmless. A few minutes scrolling turns into an hour. A quick break becomes procrastination. Protecting your hour means being honest about what steals your time and having the courage to remove it. And let me say this, your future will demand things your present comfort cannot sustain. If you want a better life, you must be willing to give up some comfort today. That 1 hour is where the exchange happens. You trade short-term pleasure for long-term progress. Over time, protecting your hour builds self-respect. You stop feeling scattered. You feel grounded. You know you're moving forward, even when progress feels slow. That inner peace is priceless. One day you'll look back and realize that your life changed, not because of one big moment, but because you consistently protected one small block of time. That hour built your skills. That hour built your mindset. That hour built your future. If you don't guard your time, nothing else you value will be safe. Protect your hour. Defend it. Honor it. Because the life you want is being built in the time you refuse to give away.